It's Thursday, that means it's DeFi day. I'm gonna start with the Dixie, DXY, US dollar currency index. Sure ain't DeFi, but man, it looks like a DeFi chart today. This is a news-based event. An announcement from Jerome Powell regarding interest rates remaining low. So there you have it, you know. This is the power of the charts, folks. This certainly looked like an ascending triangle. Got denied very hard on news. I just think it's interesting to watch and look at. So long as Dixie is bearish, we're actually more bullish on crypto based on correlations. So that may adjust the lens at which I'm about to tell you the bearishness of DeFi here, but looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, historically if dominance is below the 200-day moving average, it is altcoin season, meaning alts will outperform BTC. And this also kind of looks like a head and shoulders, honestly. So this may drop lower in that alts may gain strength. And alts can do so long as BTC remains sideways at all-time highs. We see this fairly often. As long as BTC is consolidating, alts do extremely well. Because you typically have people who get nervous and antsy and anxious and want to rotate out of BTC into other things. And that's when alts do best, really. Look at the LTC, BTC chart. Look at the Doge chart. None of those are DeFi, but the same principle applies to them as it does to DeFi charts. Now, pretty much every chart, except a few that I'm going to mention, look very much like the DeFi perp index on FTX, in that they are setting out for an M double top. A few weeks ago, I talked about this inverted head and shoulders on low time frames. Played out in a big way for BTC. We got an all-time high retest and then some. For ETH, we did not get an all-time high retest despite the projection suggesting we would. And like ETH, all of these DeFi charts really, for the most part, did not get all-time high retests either, despite the potential for that being there. So if this is an M double top, and if we do measure that out, we get a bearish case of this DeFi perp all the way down here, which would be an ugly drop for pretty much everything. This is below the 100-day moving average. It would represent a mean reversion and then some. If we do get this, that's exactly where I want to enter into DeFi in a big way, trade-wise, because I'd rather not buy up here, even though we're consolidating. There's a risk that this is an M double top, and that M double top is real. And if that is the case, the better buy is just down here. The other thing is RSI just continues to get hammered below 50, just kind of ranging below 50. Not exactly something you want to see if you're bullish index. The Uniswap perp, this is the top 100 Uniswap coins. Same thing, you got this bearish divergence all the way up, and it's again setting up for an M double top. If this plays out, big if on all this stuff, so it's hard to short this here. The better short is the horizontal. If this actually forms an M, that's your long entry signal, or short entry signal, my bad, with an expectation of something down here. You know, it would get ugly if that plays out. Not necessarily what I'm expecting, but I'm prepared for it if that's the case. I'll start with Link USD. Not exactly an M double top. Really been kind of its own thing, beating to its own drum. I think because it's been around so long, relative to other DeFi stuff, that it kind of just slowly continues to creep. Grayscale just added a Link fund today, along with 4 others. Link being the big one, though, relative to the other ones. I'd buy anything at the 200-day moving average here. I'd buy anything at this yearly pivot here. I like 60 at least within the next 12 months, which is a 2x from here. Pretty simple stuff. Link BTC, I said Monday on a video that this needed to bounce at this pitchfork diag. If this is resistance up here, this should be support down here. It was support once. It looks like it's support twice. So this is like maximum risk reward, because if we drop out of this diag, then the whole thing is over. Otherwise, it should mean revert back to the median line, just as the USD chart kind of hovers around this median line. Really good example of what to expect for Link BTC should this save itself. AAVE, again, you have this M double top characteristic. RSI is looking weak. Historically, anytime it's broken below the 50, for the most part, it has tested the 200-day moving average and then some, which is currently at like 210. Just an ugly drop from the highs, 50% plus. But hey, that's mean reversion for you. If we look on the daily cloud for AAVE, If this drops below the cloud, it's pretty much it as far as a short entry signal. Again, just backtest this since December. The story just keeps recurring here. So I'm still bullish on the long-term prospects of AAVE because I think it's a leader in the lending and borrowing DeFi stuff. But trade-wise, it looks like it's setting up for a nice drop to the 200-day moving average. Earlier last week, I talked about the 4-hour AAVE cloud that looked really bullish, and everything did look bullish, and it just didn't do anything. Again, it had this inverted head and shoulders, and it didn't really go anywhere. Didn't retest all-time highs. We didn't get a bullish continuation on the 4-hour cloud. None of that stuff. Here's a failed Adam and Eve here. So when you get repeated failed reversal patterns, that becomes a bit of an issue. And you can see this M maybe a little better here, or maybe a descending triangle. Whatever this morphs into is not bullish by any means. So if we break this low here at 300, 305, 310, whatever it is, watch out below for less than 250. There is a tiny bull div here on the 4-hour, getting lower lows and higher RSI. I'm still holding AAVE. I'm going to hold my position and just buy more if it goes lower, but trend-wise, this doesn't look so hot right now. Uni, same thing on the cloud. It's tested the cloud a few times on the 4-hour and bounced each time. If this gets a bullish TK recross above the cloud with price above cloud, then it's fine for bullish continuation. Otherwise, this does not look good on the USD pair. And that kind of goes the same for the AAVE USD pair. If this gets a bullish TK recross with price above cloud, then that's a long re-entry. But otherwise, it's definitely neutral here, and it flips bearish if we go below the cloud there. So the same thing with Uni. The moment when we go below the cloud, the sentiment will flip bearish. We'll want to retest 20. We'll see how price looks at like 18, 19, 20 because there was a decent consolidation there, decent all-time high, local high, whatever there at that level. So we'll probably find support there, but trend-wise 4-hour, it's not going to be bullish. Here's SNX on the 4-hour, same story. Again, W or inverted head and shoulder mess, whatever this was, didn't go anywhere. Cloud looked okay. Trend-wise, didn't go anywhere. Now you're getting a bull div on the 4-hour. So maybe you relong this if we get above the 4-hour cloud, but the problem with that is we've entered into the daily SNX cloud, which is setting up for a bearish edge-to-edge move to 16 or 15.5, something like that. And the last time we were in the cloud, we dropped below it pretty far and touched the 200-day moving average and then some. Nice falling wedge here that eventually broke up, but at this point you're waiting for signals to reset, most likely, to jump into stuff like this. At least that's what I'd be waiting for if I was trading this on low time frames. UMA 6-hour, kind of the same story. Here was that inverted head and shoulders. It did break up, didn't retest all-time highs or anything, didn't really break above the cloud. Trend neutral to bearish here as it falls out of the cloud again. Kind of a recurring theme. Wi-Fi had a 4-hour 5200 cross, bullish, didn't go anywhere. Now it's bearish again. It's back into this 20 to 35K range. I think there are much better charts to trade. Historically, this probably isn't a buy for me unless it's pushing all-time lows on record volume. It's just, I don't believe in prospects of this coin or anything about this coin being bullish going forward. Comp, really great case for that M double top. You can see that low time frame Adam and Eve here. VU broke up, great, but it just couldn't muster bullish continuation. No bull div just yet, and it's setting up for a move to 350 or lower. You're either trading this as a short or long entry at 350, or a short from like 400 to 350, and hoping it doesn't go lower based on the M double top. Because really, you could fib out this whole thing. Whenever the 50% move is on that, probably where it's going to end up if this gets real bearish. But the previous all-time highs were around 250. So if I had to guess a couple of weeks from now, if this stuff gets really bearish, then that's where I want to buy. So if we're talking about seasonality, Q2 is usually the best quarter for alts. So maybe we dump into April and then start to recover 50% lower on basically all these charts, barring like Link, which probably will be fine, but anything that's moved, 10,000% since January is better off relaxing a bit before it moves again. Here's another like M double top thing on Ren. Again, you just see this over and over and over again. You see signs of bull trend weakness. Here's a bearish TK cross above the cloud, which is a close your long signal if you were long from 35 cents, 33 cents. So if you're trading the cloud, you're closing your long and you're just waiting for prices below the cloud for a short entry or a bullish TK recross above the cloud for a long entry. Ideally, you're dip buying around the 200-day moving average, which has historically been a good buy, currently around 62 cents, something like that. So hopefully you're catching on here. Nothing really looks great. Serum into the cloud, bearish TK cross pending. I did have a bullish TK recross, but the price was below cloud or inside the cloud, you know. So all this stuff has to align in order to long this again. And this is another case of an insane run since January. It's better off if it relaxes, pulls back, you know, lets people get comfortable accumulating a position again. For anyone who's missed the sub 140 prices, for example, there's support all the way down, you know, but below 330. There's support like every 20-cent interval, basically. So there could certainly be a case to be made to just stagger your bids all the way down if DeFi gets super bearish. But it's definitely not a buy for me up here. Elgo, 12-hour. Again, I talked about this last week, but it feels like the run is over. Like, you missed it, right? Here was your entry. There was an inverted head and shoulders here that broke up. There was a macro inverted head and shoulders that broke up. So if you didn't catch those trades, you just missed the boat. Although the 4-hour Elgo trend-wise looks okay, there was clearly a ceiling here that it broke out, and it's trying to create some sort of support here. But it just feels to me like everything else, you know, if you missed January to March, if you missed that move, I would much rather buy lows than buy breakouts here or anything like that. Band, same story. Looks like a good buy at the 200-day moving average, not a moment sooner. Cloud signal flipping bearish here over the next few days. And unless you get a bullish TK recross above the cloud, then I wouldn't expect anything crazy. This could morph into a massive cup and handle, in which case you'd be trading this as a breakout trade at the horizontal here, probably at 20 bucks. So you either think this is neutral or bearish and you're sitting out waiting for the 200-day moving average, or you are breakout trading this, adding to a position or whatever on leverage at anything above 20. But this doesn't look like anything I want to trade here personally. Here's the 4-hour. You know, if you want to get super frisky with it, you could always long the 4-hour breakout of the cloud, as it looks like that's going to happen anyway, based on where price sits here. .USD, on the 4-hour, it is sitting just above the 200 period moving average. It hasn't been below that since December, where it formed a nice inverted head and shoulders here, shoulder, head, shoulder. Up here, it doesn't really look like anything. Again, you can see the inverted head and shoulders here, shoulder, head, shoulder. That didn't really go anywhere. There is a potential for some sort of consolidation here that might break up. But I wouldn't be sitting in this waiting for something to happen. It's definitely more of a breakout trade than a hopium pushes to the upside trade. Kava looks like band could look, if band is a cup and handle or acts like one, you can see pretty obvious, I think, cup and handle, or even some sort of weird inverted head and shoulder, shoulder, head, shoulder, whatever. The point is there was a clear horizontal here. It broke above it. The expectation is not much higher than it already hit, but that's how you trade this as a breakout trade. When it breaks the horizontal, this was probably an all-time high or close to it. But as far as getting in here, and I don't know, it's not really for me. Again, you missed the trade if you weren't already in it. Sushi probably looks okay as long as it stays in this channel. Maybe you're buying the lows of this channel here and selling the highs of this channel. I'm sure there are bots or people who are doing that. If Uni or the other exchange tokens flip bearish, I would expect Sushi to flip bearish as well, as in break this channel. But for now, it looks pretty safe. Nice little uptrend in the channel there. I randomly was looking at the Bzrxusd BTC, and it looks a lot like Elgo did before the breakout in January. So this is definitely something to watch as far as a possible multi-month inverted head and shoulders. Your measured move or whatever is probably close to 3,000 sats from here. So people always ask me, why can't I just get in here if I think it's an inverted head and shoulders? And I always tell them, you do you, man. If you think it's going to be bullish, just trade it as such, right? Like, I'd rather trade the breakout because then it's confirmed. Right now it's suspected, but it's not confirmed. So for me, this goes on some alert list waiting for this range to break, because this could do a million things from here, even though I suspect it's going to be bullish. And it's the reason why you have to watch this stuff early to actually catch the trade. You have to have that mindset of what does this look like, right? To catch the trade to the upside. It doesn't mean you can't add it into some long here, but yeah, it looks bullish for sure. Bzrxusd looks more bullish than basically anything else I've looked at. It's bounced on the 100-day moving average in February, early March already. And it just looked like a different chart compared to everything else. And 1 inch is kind of the same. It looks very different than the other exchange tokens in good and bad ways. You know, it consolidated basically at $5, broke down, and now there's some sort of weird ascending triangle thing that's trying to break up with a 4-hour bullish 5200 cross. They have more liquidity mining coming. They moved to version 3, or announced that they're moving to version 3. So they moved to BSC. They're doing stuff. They're an aggregator. They don't have all their skin in one coin. But I think 1 inch looks fine to me as far as upside potential. That's all I got for this one. Let me know what you think about DeFi over the next couple weeks. In the comments below, give us a like, give us a dislike. Let me know what you want to see. And if you want to know how I'm trading this on ETH, BTC, and USD, you can check out our fund on Enzyme. It's a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you can copy trade what I'm doing. All the trades are transparent when I trade what and when and for how much. We have a DeFi fund coming in the next few weeks, so that will be exciting to not only discuss DeFi in a transparent way, but trade it through Enzyme.